Optimizing your employment options. That's the topic today on Voices. Contributing is Carlos Thompson, one of the founders of King Staffing. He's going to give you a great deal of insight on how to partner with a staffing agency, both on the employment side and on the employer side. Let's go. On the podcast today, we're going to hear the voice on Voices of Carlos Thompson, an alumni of Cheney University, and he's going to help us find clarification in the topic that we're going to focus on, which is how to optimize your employment endeavors by using a staffing agency. Carlos Thompson is one of the founding members of King Staffing. And Carlos, thank you for being here today. What would you like to add that people should know about you?
It is a pleasure for you having me. One, I appreciate that. And I ask that question again. What should people know about me?
Yeah, absolutely. What things should people know about you that stands out, that builds the confidence with them?
Well, I'm a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. I'm very proud of that. You know, they've been a great asset in my life. You know, they've helped me out through a lot, most of my financial, personal, and social endeavors. You know. Yeah, man, I'm an overall just entrepreneur, motivator, influencer,
What's wonderful is that the connection that fraternity life has for people. Some people just think it's parties and stuff like that, but the way that you and many of the other people I know in my life who have endeavored in fraternity life has carried it over into their personal and professional life is really sort of a beautiful thing about fraternity life in general.
As far as my fraternity goes, since I've graduated, every opportunity, I want to say almost every opportunity that I've gotten presented for a job, has been through one of my frat brothers. It's not just about us socializing and going to parties and, drinking, all that stuff. That's the fun stuff, but we do, we're very active in the community. We throw book drives, at our cookouts, we host back to school drives. We're very community and service oriented, and our motto is friendship is essential to the soul, and so service is nothing to us. We lift as we climb. That's another one of our mottos, lift as we climb. We help our own, we help our brothers out. If anybody needs to be put in a position, there's somebody in our fraternity to position that brother, I can pick up the phone call, if I'm traveling to any state in America, fuck that. Anywhere in the fucking globe, I can pick up the phone, call somebody, and secure a crust in the corner, just because of the power that my fraternity holds. If I'm going to fucking Dubai next week, and I need a place to crash for a night or two, I'm gonna pick up the phone and call one of my frat brothers. If I don't know nobody in Dubai, I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody in Dubai, and just because I'm a brother, they'll secure a place for me. That's just the power of the network.
I think that's cool, and it actually shows that the fraternity life and the motto of the fraternity in itself epitomized itself, and it became a reality with you and your brother, who's also a member, and you're founders of this company. So tell me, what inspired and when were you inspired to start King Staffing? And tell people what exactly King Staffing does.
Right. So just to piggyback off of my fraternity, right? So they say you are the company you keep, and in my fraternity there are so many successful brothers, so many successful, I'm talking about millionaires, people that I know personally, and people who are just reaching the top of their respected fields and careers, and just constantly being around these brothers and people that I can aspire to and look up to. That's what really drives me, because you can only be around a group of men or a group of people for so long while they're doing well before something sparks in you, like, what, I can do that, or I can do this, or I can take my life further, or this is the type of life I can create because this is what I'm seeing on a day-to-day basis, right? So,
right.
So as far as my business, what inspired that is, honestly, I was at a 9-to-5. I was like, this is a little regular bullshit job, a little salary paying job or whatever. And I really just hated it. I did not like it at all. I was like, I cannot keep coming here every day. This is not what life is about. The same old, story you hear from every fucking entrepreneur before they go off on and do what they need to do. And that's what happened. I said, yo, I'm going to start an agency. Like, I had like 1,000 different ideas, but the thing is, I just had to choose one. And I think at the time, my struggle was just deciding what to do. And at the time, my then wife was a school teacher. I think she was working for a staffing agency. And my brother, also now business partner, he was also a substitute teacher working for an agency. And I'm like, oh shit. I kept thinking like, what kind of business can I start without having a lot of money? Because I didn't have nothing. I started this shit with nothing. I didn't have resources. I didn't have money to hire consultants or none of that. You know, I use my fraternity brothers again. I fucking sucked as much knowledge as I can out of the brothers who are entrepreneurs, who are business savvy, business to business contracts and things like that. And I talked to different lawyers, just trying to suck as much free knowledge and free game as I can out of them before I went off on my own. And I tried to think, what kind of business can I start without having crazy overhead expenses, and then it just came down to me starting a staffing agency. I did some research on it. I just said, "Fuck it." I was in my parking lot. It was me and my brother. We was in a parking lot at my old job one day. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to start a staffing agency. And at that moment, I've made my mind up to do it, and I've been consistent from there on out. And I just started a staffing agency, and I really love the way I started out because I don't have any overhead. Well, I'm like, I have overhead expenses. I don't have like the typical overhead expenses. I think like a lot of businesses have. I don't have I work remotely. I work from home. Me and my brother, we both work from home. We don't have like a brick and mortar. We have like, I want to say, one of the newer business models where, we don't even, see our staff, because we're a third party employment agency. We vet. We once we send our staff to their facilities, they kind of get their on the job interviews through our clients, and through their performance determines whether or not they'll stay on the job or not. So, we do the pre-screening and vetting and everything else, but we send them out, and that's what it is.
So, but it leads me to my next question, because you were talking about sending people out. So, how did you determine, and what industries does your staffing agency connect with? Because staffing agencies can be specialized, or they can kind of cover a myriad of things. So, what does King Staffing specifically do?
Right. So, King Staffing Agency specializes in providing quality childcare to various childcare centers and charter schools in the city of Philadelphia. So we staff out daycare teachers for the most part. So we specialize in staffing out teachers, aides, assistant teachers, lead teachers to different daycare centers in Philadelphia. Also substitute teachers to charter schools in Philadelphia. That's what we specialize in currently. We haven't broken, and we would like to, actually break the markets, or rather break into different industries. We want to start eventually staffing warehouse personnel, office personnel, and just start really diversifying our industries just a bit more so that we can, expand and take our business to greater heights. Those are some of the barriers that I've been facing, to be quite honest. But all in all, it's been a great experience. I've been doing it for the last 3 years. We're definitely in the green where we're netting, good profits. It pays the bills, and I only expect to go up from here.
That's awesome. So when you're picking people to work for you, who are your target audience for people who want employment?
Okay, so my target audience. Well, my target audience are teachers. I market to teachers. Of the daycare teachers, really, in the city of Philadelphia, anywhere between the ages of 18 and up, really.
Okay, and so you mentioned something about your college experience and how that was positive. So a question I had, because when I was in college, I never thought of it, but I think it could work, but I'm unsure. But you probably have a relationship with it. Should college students use a staffing service?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of our staff now, they use our agency when they're out of school looking for work. Or when they're on school breaks, we have students that come back all the time on Christmas breaks, Thanksgiving breaks, spring breaks. If they just want to work for a week, and that's the good thing about staff agency. We don't have a commitment to us. Like our workers are independent contractors. So that gives them a lot of freedom to do what W-2 employees cannot do. And as temporary workers, they can come in, work for a week, and they go back to school. Or if they're out of even if they're out of work for a period of time, they can come use our agency, go to work for a few weeks, get their money up, and then they can work with us until they find their ideal job. So we don't expect our workers to show us that kind of commitment where they stay in a job for 20 years or whatever. This is a temporary staff agency. You can come in, get some work done. This is what we do every day. So definitely, most college students would definitely benefit from using our agency.
So do you participate in job fairs, anything like that are at the universities whenever they show up to put yourself in front of college students?
Oh yeah, definitely. So we market on varying platforms. So we go to different job fairs, Temple University, Chain University, all of the major colleges in the city. We participate in job fairs. We also market on like the major job boards, like Indeed, Monster, Career Builder, Google. We've optimized our search engine on Google, whereas if you Google, staffing agencies or childcare agencies or temporary work in Philadelphia, we should be coming up on the first page. We've been doing that for some time. That's been really a big help to us. And I would just side note, I would encourage anybody to to market their businesses on Google using what is it, AdWords, I think.
Yes.
Keywords, yeah, because especially if you have a niche market that people have to type into. So like, if anybody wants to type in employment agency in Philadelphia, we're going to come up. If they want to type in child care work or working in the daycare centers or whatever they want to do related to what we're doing, we're going to come up on Google. And we get a lot of inbound calls because of that. We also use social media advertising. Another great tool I've been utilizing for is Instagram influencers. These Instagram influencers, they have 300,000 plus followers. If you can get if you can get in touch with these guys, you can use them to really market your stuff. I mean, even you, Louis, the fucking with this podcast, you can pay an Instagram influencer, $100 to put you in front of 300, 400,000 people just to market your podcast. And out of that 300,000, maybe 50 that day will take a liking to what you're doing, and then that's an extra 50 listeners you have, and if they take a liking to what you're doing, they'll refer somebody and so on, and you can do that shit like once a month, once a week, whatever your budget permits you to do. So that's another way I've been utilizing social media to market my business and everything else.
That's a great idea, and I hope people, as well as myself, I know I'll take advantage of it, but I hope other people take sort of that nugget that you left them for that. So kind of going back to the work now, you talked about it being sort of a temporary work. So I know there are some staffing agencies that have different levels of work when they contract for places. So the types of work that you help people secure, do you offer things along the lines of temporary to permanent, part-time, full-time, contract? What is the specific type of work that you provide?
Yeah, definitely. So it's definitely it can be just temporary. It can be direct placement, whereas you're not necessarily working for our agency. We're just headhunting. We go out, go find you for an employer, and then they take you on as an employee, and then we just get our referral fee. We also do temp to hire or temp to permanent, where you work with us for a certain amount of hours, and then after you reach a certain amount of hours, the employer has the option to bring you onto their staff as a permanent employee, given or contingent on your performance in their facilities.
Okay, and so and you mentioned it before, and sort of just in the conversation. So when the people come to your temporary agency, they're your employees. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yep. They're our workers. I don't necessarily use employees because
Okay.
they're 1099 contractors. So they're out, but they are our workers. We pay them.
Okay, and so with that, are there any benefits or any incentives that come along with the connection they create with you? I mean, obviously the employment and getting paid a paycheck is an incentive in itself, but
Absolutely.
are there other things associated with that?
Yeah. So no, we don't. As a temporary agency, we don't provide the typical health benefits and employer benefits that W-2 employers would provide. But we do have like different incentives, to I guess to make the job easier. So if you're showing up to work every day, on a consistent basis, we provide you with free transportation. Either with a public transportation pass or a gas card to get you to and from work, just as an incentive that you can actually, get the work done. We have referral bonuses where if you refer anybody to our agency, we give you a referral bonus. Um, and little perks like that. We may do little giveaways here and there, but we don't offer like the typical health and health benefits that employers have. We don't.
Well, that's fair enough because you're still getting them in the door, and you have the options where you can help a person become a permanent employee, and then that employer can benefit from that. So with that, what's your ideal candidate? Like, how do you and is there a way you can mold them to become an ideal candidate?
That's been hard. I don't know if we can mold them to be. Well, I'm not going to say that because as I just said, that I thought of one employee, one staff worker we had who was a bit rough around the edges, and it's funny because I thought she wouldn't work out, because she's had a real bad attitude problem, and she just had a lot of demands. But after a few good stern talks, um, and a few stern conversations with her, she turned her around, and she's actually become one of our better employees or staff workers. So yeah, I guess so. I guess we can. The ideal candidate, they have experience in childcare. They have a little bit of education in the field, and they just come ready to work. They come ready to work on time. They have goals to meet. They have bills to be paid. Like, yeah. So I mean, we have workers, for example, that come in and do they'll work for a week and then do like a no call, no show, or they'll come in, they'll start their first week and call out 3 days out of the 5 days that they're scheduled to work. We have workers that try to do fraudulent timesheets on us. I mean, we've had workers trying to steal money from us. If you're not doing any of that, you're not ideal worker, right?
Right.
just just come to work and just be ready to work. Get ready, stick to your shift. Be passionate about what you're doing. Yeah. Working in the
And
childcare
so
field is a choice. People don't come into the childcare, I don't think, just to make a quick dollar. You can go clean and work at McDonald's for that.
right, true.
Working with children is you have to have patience. It's an industry you want to work in, and you want to carry yourself just with a little bit more care because you'll be working with children. So that's it.
Okay, so you mentioned this earlier. You kind of alluded to it. So how is what you do in your business different than what recruiters and headhunters do?
Okay, that's a good. How is what I do in my business different from what pretty much like my competition?
Well, like for instance, a headhunter is looking for a permanent job for someone, but I feel like you guys are sort of more of a segue where you can also do the headhunting part too. So do you actually provide more service than them?
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, where a headhunter, they go out, they go search for so one headhunters, they typically search for high executive candidates. So they're looking for CEOs and COOs of for like major corporations for the most part. because that's where the money is. That's what headhunter does. And they get like a once they find somebody, that's like a one time thing. Once we find somebody, they're on our staff until they no longer want to be, or until our employer wants to buy them out from us. And it still has to be the decision. The decision still has to be made by the employee. So our work is we've had workers with us that's been with us for 2-3 years. Just being consistent, just because they like working with our agency. Whereas a headhunter would find somebody, in a week and then let them go to an employer.
And that was actually a question I had, because I was curious, is there a length of time that a person can max out working with you guys or not? It sounds like no, but is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, there isn't. As long as you want to keep working with us, you can work with us. If an employer wants to recruit one of our workers, they would have to agree to it. Now the employers, they have every right to say, for example, after one of our workers work at their facility for 500 hours, they can say, hey, I want to bring on Mr. Nesbitt onto our staff permanently. But Mr. Nesbitt, he would have to agree to that. They can't just take him from you. And then, I mean, we provide a pretty decent, work environment, very friendly. We have different referral bonuses, and we're very flexible with schedule. And we don't demand too much out of you, except that you just show up and do your job. So people typically like staying around with our agency, and we pay pretty well as well. So when an employee does want to leave our agency, it's due to whatever other reasons, which is okay. We encourage it. We encourage you to handle whatever endeavors you seek out to handle.
That's great. So I had sort of a two-part question here. Next, talking about the employee side still. How long does it take to sort of place a person, and how much time is put into promoting a candidate that comes to you?
The turnaround is rather quick. So I mean, we have vacancies, waiting to be filled already. And in our services, the demand are more so for the workers. So the vacancies are pretty much already there. So as soon as we're able to find a qualified candidate, we can place them within 24 hours. That's going to be there. And how long it takes for us to actually find a worker, that's a different question. It varies. We can find a worker in a week. We can find a worker in a day. It can take us a couple weeks to process somebody. It really just all depends on how eager the worker wants to work. How fast they can submit all of their paperwork and get all of their documents signed, and things of that nature.
That's brilliant. And so, do you offer any services or tutorials for the person for like maybe resume writing services or helping build the LinkedIn profile? Do you do anything like that, or do they get a profile in yours?
No, we don't do any of that. We don't do any of the job readiness programs. Just simply because, and I can do that, mind you. So I also have a full-time job where I'm an employment coach, and I do exactly that, right? So I get candidates, they come in, and I pretty much provide all around job services for them. I help them build their resume, teach them how to, build a profile on LinkedIn and things of that nature. For my business, they need to be already prepared to work, because we just don't have the time to do that, and that's not where our profits lie. So I focus on profits. What's going to bring in the profit is what we're going to provide. So our workers, our clients, they look for us to fill their vacancies, and we do just that. So you need to come ready to our agencies, having all of your credential paperwork, having your resume already set, just having things in order so that we can process you. If not, you need to go seek an agency to do that for you, and then come back to us, and then we can place you for work. But we don't do any of that.
That's fair. And that's fair enough, because if you're saying you have a 24-hour turnaround period for people once they sort of get settled with you, then it makes sense that they come ready. And that's good, because you're actually bolstering whatever they've created prior to what they did.
Right.
So another question, because I was looking at the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics, and the unemployment rate anywhere in the area you are in the greater Philadelphia area is 2.7 to 5.5%, which is fairly low. So but the number that I found most interesting was the underemployment rate, which nationally it's roughly about 12.6%, which is pretty high. So with that, how many of your candidates would you ballpark are you for like second jobs, or do you cater to those people who are looking for a second job as an additional income?
Yeah, so because our clients for the most part they seek full-time candidates, and that's what we provide. We provide full-time 40-hour-week candidates. So once you're working with us, then you may want to go out and find a part-time or second job. So we're typically, I guess, the first job employers, if that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense, because I mean the thing about it is that people with second jobs don't sort of have that same consistency, because normally it's for a time period for a specific reason, but
Right.
you're looking to get people like gainfully employed, so that makes sense.
Right.
And what I find interesting is I make a little bit of a shift. What you do is kind of like a matchmaker. Like you're definitely a matchmaker. So you have employees, they come prepared, they have sort of a resume. You're doing the background to find out who they are, and you on your business side have done the research to connect the employers. So I want to shift. So I want to shift to the employer side, because how do you help employers with your service?
Right. So I mean, so for example, I'll take one of our larger clients in the Philadelphia area. One of our larger clients, they have over, I want to say, 30 facilities. There are 30 childcare facilities in the Philadelphia area, and they have a pretty decent HR team. But we help them because we can save them time and money and resources. Like it takes a fair amount of time, a lot of time, to recruit one person. And if you're trying to divide those services, you're trying to recruit 10 staff, talking about 300 people. It takes a lot of time and resources to actually get that done. So you can outsource that responsibility to an agency that specializes in just that, while you can focus on. And if you can outsource those tasks to an agency to help you focus on your day-to-day stuff, like your bills and your operations and your back office and things of that nature, and you leave all of the recruiting, the vetting, the interviewing, the screening, and the placements to us, you'll save yourself money and time. So the time. So for example, right, if we have 20 vacancies to fill, right? If we have 20 vacancies to fill next month or whatever, it takes a lot of time to fill those vacancies, right? So once we onboard them, right, we have to onboard the staff. That's a whole process. Getting their paperwork, screening them, making sure they're a good fit for the job, reviewing their references, going over their background. That's a job in itself. And now we're talking about placing the candidate. So now you're looking. So now you're talking about, what we do is, we look where the candidate lives. We try to find a facility that's close to the candidate so that we can make sure that this candidate goes to work every day. Because if we try to place this candidate at a site, that's an hour commute from his home, they may say that they're going to go to work just to, try to keep the job, but that job is not going to sustain because that commute is too far. So we try to find a facility that's closer to their home. So all that energy goes into, placing a candidate as well, making sure that the candidate is at the right facility. That takes time, and we take all of that stress off of the employer. And also when an employer hires full-time staff, they have to pay unemployment compensation. They have to pay workers' comp. They have to pay the associated employee fees and taxes that come with that. If they're hiring an agency, they're literally actually saving money because they don't have to pay. They don't have to pay any of that. They pay us a flat hourly fee, and we take care of everything else. We make sure all the employees' taxes and all of that other good stuff is taken care of on our end. So they don't have to do any of that. They don't have to worry about the employee associated fees, the workers' comp, the unemployment comp. They don't have to worry about training the workers, vetting them, screening them, interviewing them, or placing them. And when they're when there's a performance issue, they don't have to worry about trying to replace that candidate by interviewing another candidate. They can just call the staffing and say, hey, you know what, this person hasn't worked out. We need a replacement. And once we can turn that around in 24 hours, get a new staff person in there, they're saving a substantial amount of time because they don't have time, literally don't have the time to do that. You know, they're worrying about their a 30-center facility. They have, you know, they have children to worry about. You know, they have, you know, complaints from parents. They're doing all sorts of things. So we save them a whole bunch of time and money using our services.
So it sounds like, I mean, you make the businesses more profitable because if you're saving them time, money, and it looks like you're reducing turnover rate as well and increasing production, that your staffing agency is actually something that puts businesses in the green. You would say, yeah, right?
Absolutely. You said that so eloquently. Absolutely.
Well, it was actually one of my questions, but you answered it sort of along the way because another question I was going to ask you is, we live in times right now, the unemployment rate is fairly low. With such a low unemployment rate, it makes it difficult to find people. And so you become a resource of sorts, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's very difficult to find people. And I mean, hence, that's like why our services are in demand because, you know, so there are only but so many, I want to say teachers in Philadelphia, right? So, I mean, no matter how you slice it, there's going to be like, I guess, a cap until a new person peaks the industry, right? So we're competing with, you know, all of the other staffing agencies that's doing what we're doing. We're competing with the other childcare centers that's hiring actual full-time teachers. We're competing with the school district because they also hire, you know, the teachers that we're looking for. And couple that with the low unemployment rate, the pickings definitely do get slim. And we just try to, you know, market ourselves above that, you know, so that we can get the best qualified candidates by, you know, offering, you know, different pays, different rates of pay, things of that nature.
And that's great. So you kind of alluded to it earlier. And so what would you say is a standout success story of a placement you've had or a relationship you've had with a business? Because, I mean, there's two sides that you actually have stories on. You have the placement of an employee, and you also have the winning of an employer. So what are some success stories that kind of stand out to you in those arenas?
Success stories. Well, on the employee side, success. I mean, we recruit people every day, so every day is a success for me. Every day we recruit somebody. Every time we bring somebody on board is a success, you know, for us. When we're able to fill our clients' vacancies, you know, that's a major success. You know, it feels good doing that. And employer success, I want to say, was well when I guess when we secured our largest client that kind of took us to another threshold. I want to say back in the beginning of the top of 2018, we received a phone call from one of our clients. It was an inbound call. I actually tried to get these guys a year prior, and I kept knocking down these doors, but nobody heard me knocking. Until this black lady, I don't know why I said black lady. She just, I guess it's a white organization, and there was a black executive that reached out to me. So I guess that's what makes it pertinent. It's a white organization.
Okay.
Yeah, and this black, she was an executive, new lady that just came into the organization, and she was searching, and they already had our services prior with a different agency, but they were unsatisfied with what they were providing. So they went on a search for another agency, and they came across us, you know, on Google. And that's also why I stressed earlier on in the conversation. I stressed early on using Google in the, you know, in whatever business you're doing. They found us on Google, gave me a phone call, and then took it from there. You know, negotiated contracts and told us about our services. We met up, had some coffee, you know, and she really, that lady, I have to send her a thank you gift or something because she was the key to plugging our organization with their organization. And I've had success ever since. Unfortunately, that lady is no longer with that organization. She was actually laid off, and I was sad to hear that. But yeah, life goes on.
And you alluded to it a little bit, and I think this is a powerful thing. What are the challenges that you've encountered, and how have you overcome them? Because you kind of alluded to it in that, but what are some of the challenges that stand out in your mind that you've been overcoming in the process of growing your staffing agency?
So many challenges, man. So many challenges. One of the challenges, I'll speak briefly on it because I'm kind of still in the middle of it, so I don't want to speak too much on it. But it's the what is it? The classification of our workers. That was a big challenge when starting my business. Going back and forth with the state on how my workers are classified. They pretty much challenged the way my workers are classified, and I don't agree with them. So we're kind of in the midst of that battle right now. That battle has not been won yet, so that's pretty much all I can say about that one. But just having, I guess, all of your ducks in a row when first starting your business. You want to seek consultation. You want to seek as much advice and consultation as you possibly can. I didn't have any of that because I didn't have any money. So everything I've gotten to this point, all from the muscle,
Right.
all from my own research, all from just talking to different people and sucking as much knowledge as I can out of them. That's how I've gotten to this point. And then later, I've done some money into different counsel. So yeah, that's been a challenge. Probably the biggest challenge is going back with the state, just on different things. So you just want to make sure you're compliant and doing whatever it is that you're doing. Another challenge, is I did state before, is breaking down the doors to different industries. That's what I'm focused on now, just breaking down doors to different industries and trying to expand, scale up and expand my network. Get more business. Another challenge can be finding qualified workers. You can have 10 vacancies on the floor, and like you said, in a time with low unemployment and just a lot of competition. Staff, they're not always readily available, so you have to do these little different spurts of hiring where you're dumping money into different things like Instagram influencers and job posts, and just really hitting the ground, making sure you stand out above other employers. Another challenge has been employees. Oh, fraud. Fraud. I touched on this earlier a little bit before, but we've had many encounters where workers just try to steal time from. So we've put a different system in place to mitigate that. Now that's kind of been mitigated a lot, but that was also a challenge early on, where we didn't really know how to navigate certain things. It took some fraud. Mind you, we're still a fairly new organization, so we still have a lot of learning to do, a lot of learning curves and things of that nature. We've started. This business has been conceived since February 2016. We didn't make our first dollar until September 2016. So we're still fairly new. We're still learning. We're still growing. We have a lot. We have a lot more to set out to accomplish. So I'm excited about it.
And it sounds like you've found ways to overcome, because you mentioned your success and you dealing with fraud and how you found a solution to overcome it. How you dealing with the state, and you just kind of, and you working for your workers in the classification. So it sounds like for every challenge that's come to you, you've found the process to work towards overcoming it, towards getting your goals accomplished.
Got to, man. Got to, man. Got to. Yes, sir.
So with that, how's that shaped your mission as an organization?
How has that shaped my mission as an organization? You mean, like, I guess through the problems we've been facing?
What Well, I mean, when you start, you always have sort of a goal in mind. This is my mission. This is what I'm going to do. And then you meet the challenges. And then the challenges are like, man, this thing came in the way and this thing came in the way, and it kind of affects what my original mission
Right.
was. So how has that sort of dealing with the challenges has shaped or maybe solidified what the mission of the company is?
Yeah, so I don't think it's we started out, I don't think it's shaped it much because like you said, with every problem I've encountered, I've took it on head on, um I've been pretty stern in my actions. So my mission kind of stays the same. How I so for example, my so I guess it shaped like this, right? I kind of fell into the childcare industry by accident because when the King Staffing was started, we set out to provide staff for varying industries. Um, that's the goal, and that's still the goal. That's still the goal, right? But we haven't necessarily gotten to that point where we're providing staff for a surplus or a substantial amount of varying industries. So right now, it shaped our mission to us specializing in childcare, because that's what we've been doing for the last 3 years abundantly. So that's where our specialization came from. Early on, we have not specialized. We weren't a childcare specialization agency. This is something kind of we just fell into. And it has been a blessing because the specialization is what's gotten us this far. So, yeah.
And that's awesome. So like because you actually have to work on in two fronts in this business endeavor that you and your brother do, I look at it and I ask myself two questions. What makes this business stand out from the rest of the industry? And why should I or an employer choose King Staffing?
Oh man, because we staff with prestige and passion, man. We provide the best quality personnel for your facilities. We have an extreme, thorough and in-depth recruiting practice and tactic. Our workers come already prepared, already experienced, already with everything. You know, um, they already they're already working in the field when it comes to us. So you kind of know what you're going to get when you're dealing with King Staffing. You know, and we hit the pavement every day working for our clients and working for our staff. Um, you know, we do cater to two fronts. If our staff are not happy, it's our job to rectify that. If our clients are not happy, it's our job to rectify that, and we try to do it all with prestige and passion.
That's wonderful. And I was looking because I know you guys are new. I was looking at like sort of how do people find agencies, and obviously there's Google, but then I saw that like there was a website called clearlyrated.com, which classifies like the levels of quality, I guess that the staffing agencies have, and also there's a search engine called Recruitsy. Do you have any relationships or pending relationships that you're going to build with any of those sort of third party organizations?
I do now, right? As soon as you text it to me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was looking because I thought, obviously there's people where all industries sort of have sort of a standard ratings thing. And I saw that clearlyrated.com actually rates the best staffing agencies. And they have like Q scores and all that stuff. And they ask the employers and the employees that you staff with how it goes, and then you develop a relationship, and they have like free memberships and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And also like recruitsy.com also had where it gave people recruit industries in their area, because you can go to places like kelly.com or whatever, or Kelly Staffing, and they service all over the place. But if you in Philly and you looking for a specific thing in Philly, then you want to know what's in Philly.
Right.
And so I felt like those were two that and you might have had a pending relationship with, but it looks like it's definitely worth at least looking into, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned those. I'm going to look into them.
Oh, hey, well, when I talk to people, I want to try to give something if I can, but definitely I want to learn from them. And so with that, I want to talk about Carlos as the person. So as far as You can only speak for you. Your brother, we can probably have one at a different time. And because I think your mission for the company is set in stone. But what is like the philosophy that you carry into this business that you think helps not only the business but the people, your clients and the employers that hire them? And are there any book or media recommendations you have for anybody that led you to where you are?
I'm me personally. I'm just like a go getter. I'm a man of like high aspirations. And I just try to seek out to accomplish what I set my mind to. And I carry that same energy, in my business. I carry that same energy and passion, in my business. As far as the books, I read a varying of books. I read a lot of like, what do you want to call them? Self-development books. Not really a lot of books on, I guess, industry tactics and things of that nature. Probably books that I probably should be reading more of. I read a lot of more books on self-development, like mind molding, self-development, character building, things of that nature. Character building, and just self-help books that gives me the ability to make sound decisions. That gives me the ability to use my ego less. Things of that nature. Like I'm a big fan of Robert Greene. I'm a big fan of, like, I follow a lot of the universal laws. I'm a very spiritual person, and those energies I just carry with me, yeah. I don't know if I answered your question, but
no, you did, and because what it sounds like is those things are helping you choose the best candidates and the best employment partners, and it helps you, even if you may not directly be choosing to do it, to help develop your candidate, the candidates you have. That sounds fair.
Absolutely. So that's funny you mentioned that. So whenever I have a problem with the candidate or with the worker, so in the industry that I am in, I can come across many. I want to say, what's the word I'm looking for? The population, they're a little rough around the edges, right? So I try to when there's a problem, I bring to them what I know, what I've learned, right? So I take the approach of, well, hey, instead of looking at your problem this way, well, here's another perspective. Here's how you can, view the same problem. I take the tools that I know, and how I navigate through life, and I try to imprint that upon my workers. If there is a problem, I give them a different perspective of life and how they can tackle their day-to-day problems. If they're upset about, for example, if I get this one girl, like, payday is on Fridays, and I get this one girl who calls us fucking every Thursday at like 9 at night. I'm like, first of all, why are you calling us at 9 at night, right? That's first. And it's not even payday. So, like, well, why are you doing this? And she's done this consistently for weeks, and I'm like, you haven't gotten paid yet because it's not payday, and I want to make sure you guys got everything. We've gotten everything, and now not the time to ask that question. We asked this question, 4 days ago when your timesheet was due, to make sure we received it, not the 9 o'clock before payday, so yeah. So after a few weeks of that, I just had a serious conversation. I was like, yo, well, I understand you may be in I forgot what she was going through. I just kind of gave her a different perspective on life and how to tackle it. I gave her the namaste point of view, if you follow me,
Yes, I totally understand.
Yeah. So
with that, I have two more questions for you. Then we're gonna wrap up. The first question is, how do people contact you? So how do people contact you and your business? Is it LinkedIn, Facebook, etc.? I'm gonna let you give that information. And then my second question is what is a mentality or quote that you want to leave the listeners with that can carry them forward?
Well, yeah. So we can be contacted. You can find more information about our agency at www.kingsstaffing.com. That's KINGSSTAFFING.com. You can find us on Instagram, King Staffing LLC. We're on Facebook, Instagram. You can Google King Staffing LLC in Philadelphia, and it will come up. And a quote that I can leave you guys with. Do thy duty that is best, leave unto the Lord the rest.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's excellent, man. And also, just as a sidebar, because I was on LinkedIn, because I do my homework in advance. I saw that you guys were on LinkedIn, and you had like job listings on there too. So do you use that format as well for people to contact?
Yeah. I forgot about it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we do use LinkedIn. I'm big on LinkedIn. We do some job postings on LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn more so for my employer connects and my employer contacts. I don't do too much recruiting for my industry, at least, for employees on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is more so for my employer and professional contacts. But yeah, we do have a presence on LinkedIn.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So with that, hey, I want to thank you so much for taking this time out to have this conversation and sharing with the world what King Staffing does. I want to thank you and the audience for listening. Carlos Thompson, Cheney University alum, member of the prestigious Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated,
Yeah.
and one of the two founding members of King Staffing LLC in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So with that, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And if you have a last word, I'm gonna let you have the last word.
Yeah, I do have a last word, man. Let's go get out there and get it, man. All my listeners, go out there and get this shit, man. I had a wonderful conversation with an African brother last night, man. I went in there to ask him a simple question. I was looking for directions in my brother's building, and we ended up talking for 2 hours. I mean, it was an amazing conversation. This dude is a millionaire. He was just in the building with us. I didn't even know. I went in there for some simple directions, and we ended up talking for 2 hours about business building. So this African guy, I've known him. I've known him for some while, but I don't know him. I know him from around the neighborhood. I see him, but kind of like we see each other and we just give each other like that little nod because we know what each other's do. But he's like a lot far more advanced than I am in his business adventures. Like this guy, he was just out there giving us game. He was giving me a lot of game. Just pretty much about culture and about the way we need to like be going about things. I told him I have a business. I told him, I'm still working on the building it. He's pretty much giving me confidence and encouragement, saying, anything, and not to speak on like what the white man is doing, but like for the most part, they run the world for the most part, and he's African born, so he has like a different, I guess, a different world view. And he was pretty much had that mindset, whereas anything anybody is doing in this world, I can do. You know what I'm saying? Like I met him in a restaurant. I was buying food in an African restaurant, and I seen him in there sitting down eating food, and he owned that restaurant, and that's where we built our connection because I said, oh shit, like he's doing something, come to find out, he owns like a Chick-fil-A, he owns a restaurant, he owns like 70 fucking apartment buildings in Philadelphia. He has property in New York. He has a fucking juice store in New York. He just does a lot. He does a lot. He has a tax office. He's a CPA, and I've been to his different businesses and buildings, and like it's no bullshit, like and he was just telling me like, yo, listen, like, come stick around with me, and like I'll bring you up with me, and I love his mentality because he said he has children, but he doesn't raise his children in America because he wants to instill a different culture in them. He said where he's from, he does what he does not because he wants to live good by himself, because he can get a job and make $1,000 a month and just feed himself. But he does it for his family. He does it because he has 7 brothers that he wants to bring with him, and all of his brothers are millionaires. You know what I'm saying? And he's opened the door for that. You know what I'm saying? He does it for his father. He does it for his children. You know what I mean? He does it because he wants to bring people with him. when he seen me and my brother, he said, "Yo, I want to bring you guys with me because he recognized the vibe." You know what I'm saying? And I just thought that was so dope. You know what I mean? Because so much in our culture, we see somebody doing what we're doing, or I guess see a competition or see somebody of our same stature, and immediately think, "Oh, competition," as opposed to think, "Yo, this man is doing something. Let's eat together." You know, or I know he can do something. Let me bring this brother up with me, and kind of give him a pathway so that, you know, when I'm on my yacht, he's on the yacht next to me. You know what I'm saying? He wants to bring his people up with him, and I respected that so much. You know what I'm saying? And that was yeah. Go ahead.
Hey, I appreciate that. I think that's really cool because one of my mentalities is there's really no competition. The only competition is in the mirror, and that's yourself.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that a solid decision was made by both you and I for you to be on this topic, how to optimize your employment endeavors.
Right.
Like you were speaking on it, man. So I want to thank you. And I'm looking forward to getting the feedback from the people after they listen to this with you. So with that, I want to thank you, Carlos. And until the next time, have a good one.
Hey, and one last thing. Hey, everybody, look into joining the foreign exchange industry is booming like no other before. So you guys definitely want to look into the forex industry, foreign exchange industry. I'll just leave you guys with that.
That sounds like another one we'll have a conversation on. How about that?
That sounds like another podcast.